Are you ready for the reading rush? It's time to vlog. It's a video log. Hi and welcome to A World of Words. I'm Vanessa and this is going to be my reading rush reading vlog. Lots of reading. Okay, so I'm going to just start off by doing my TBR, since I never actually got around to filming a TBR, and that way I don't have to explain the books and how they fit into the prompts as I pick them up and read them. I'm also going to stand slightly to the side so I can put the official prompts up on the screen. So the first prompt is to read a book whose cover matches the color of your birthstone. I was born in July, so my birthstone is a ruby, which is red. Actually, my birthday is this week. It's on Saturday. So I'm going to be reading Midnight Alley, which is book 3 in the Morganville Vampires series. And I don't know if it looks more pink on camera, but it's actually red in the alley, which I'm assuming is the Midnight Alley. And I'm going to be doubling up on a lot of these because I'm only reading 3 books because I'm incapable of finishing a week-long readathon and reading all the books. We'll see if 3 was too much here. So I actually have 2 options for the next prompt. A book that starts with the word the, and as you've already seen, this series is called The Morganville Vampires. And then another book I have is The Jane Austen Book Club, which rolls into the next prompt, which is to read a book based off a movie you have already seen. I actually watched the Jane Austen Book Club movie. This is even the tie-in cover years ago. I barely remember it except having a vague feeling of thinking it was cute. And then I found this book at the thrift store and never read it. I've had this for years. I've put it on multiple readathon TBRs because it's so short and never got into it. So maybe this will be the time, book. Maybe you'll finally get read. I hope so. And the next prompt is one that they actually altered after the fact. It was to read a book completely outside, but due to the quarantine situation, that's not always possible for everybody. And while I do actually have a really big backyard that I could read in, this week it's been like almost 100 degrees outside and I don't want to die of heat stroke. I'm going to do the alternate version of it, which is to listen to outdoorsy ambiance while reading a book. So I'll actually explain that in the next prompt, which is to read in a genre that you want to read more of. Now, I'm actually twisting this one a little bit because it's not necessarily a genre, more of like a subject matter / setting that I want to read more of, and that is mermaids, the ocean. So I really want to read more mermaid books because I love mermaids. Ariel's my favorite Disney princess. I would be a mermaid if I could, but that's not really an option. So I'll read about mermaids, and I've had this book for a while, and I may have also put it on another TBR at one point. I actually have the entire series, so I need to read this book. This is called Deep Blue. It is part of the Waterfire saga. I don't know if it's the Waterfire saga. It might just be Waterfire. I cannot speak. Waterfire saga. So it's like a fantasy book. Oh, actually, it is fantasy. So it's not. It also fits the other prompt. Did I mention that one yet? To read a book outside of the continent in which you currently live. So I live in the US, but this takes place in a fantasy world, so I was actually good either way if it took place in like the ocean, because that's not technically the continent where I live, but it's a fantasy world completely, so it fits that prompt as well. And I was also planning to listen to like ocean sounds, underwater type sounds, ambiance while reading this book. I think that's everything except, which leaves us to the last prompt, which actually I don't know if like chronologically on their list online was the last prompt on the list, but I'm mentioning it last because I have a kind of fun way of figuring out the last one, which is to read the first book you touch. My average is usually a book a week, so 3 books a week is probably a lot for me. So I didn't want to add a whole nother book to this TBR, and I also didn't want to do the grab every book off of your shelf that fits a prompt and then pick one of those, because I already knew I wanted to just read this one. So for me, I'm going to, again, adjust this prompt a little bit and have the first book I touch be the first out of these 3 books that I read. And how I figure that out, we're going to have to switch locations. So follow me. Okay, this angle and lighting is kind of weird, but I'm going to sit in that chair and attempt to spin around with my eyes closed and then touch the first book that I reach. We'll see how this goes. I'm not sure how well that chair actually spins. It's an old chair. So let's just get on with it and see if I fall over and crawl around on the floor, and it maybe will be amusing for you. Why am I out of breath? Slightly dizzy, not too bad. I got Midnight Alley, Morganville Vampires, book 3. So this is going to be the first book of the readathon. Now before I can read this, I actually need to finish the last 25 pages of book 2 because I meant to read that last night, but I didn't. So I actually have a book 0 to finish before I can get to my first read of the readathon. Also, while I have this angle, I thought I'd do one of the vlog challenges for the video challenge bonus challenges, which is to dress up and match your outfit to your book. So I am not, well, the colors kind of match. I'm doing more of a thematic matching to the book. So once again, I have chosen deep blue mermaids underwater theme. So my outfit has a dolphin necklace. I have my Ariel kimono. I have shorts on, and that's not really, it's the same color though. Let me act like I can balance on one leg. What? And my shirt is it too bright? Can you see it? My shirt is Ocean City with a sea turtle on it and like seashells and things. Yeah, mainly there are mermaids. Get out of there, hair. Mermaids. Mermaids on the kimono. Mermaids on the book. Yay! First video bonus challenge achieved. So far I've made it 58 pages into Midnight Alley, and it's pretty good. So right now the main character is being forced to work with a kind of crazy vampire who has mood swings, so that'll be interesting. Also, it's kind of weird. So this book, as I've been reading it, different fortunes, like from like Chinese fortunes, have been falling out of the book. Like somebody stuck a bunch of different fortunes from fortune cookies, and it's kind of entertaining because they just keep falling out, and they're all really positive. I don't know why they were being stored in that book, which I got used, so that's like, it wasn't a new book, so it's not nearly as weird as it seems. So it says, opportunity knocks on your door every day, answer it. This is the weirdest one. A short stranger will soon enter your life. Good things are coming to you in due course of time, which is nice. Any troubles you may have will pass shortly. Your loyalties will be rewarded. And the last one that I've gotten so far, allow yourself time, you will reach success. So all of these are actually quite positive, and if they do come true, they're very nice things. Apparently good things are in store according to the book fortunes. So it is now Tuesday, day 2 of the reading rush, and I reached page 95 in Midnight Alley last night. So I've actually did a little bit of math, and in order to read all 3 of these books by the end of the week, I'm going to have to read at least 118 pages per day to finish all of the pages in all of the books. And I only read 95 pages yesterday, so technically I'm already behind. But I'm not going to worry about that too much, because even just reading 2 books will still be a win for me. I haven't been doing much reading at all lately, so I'm just really hoping this gets me back into the spirit of things, and I am really enjoying Midnight Alley so far. It's added some like new and kind of interesting things to the whole lore slash mythology of the world and the vampires, so curious to see what happens. I have actually already read this book before, but I honestly don't remember anything, so I'm still curious to see what happens. Turning pages, keep turning those pages. Time flies when you've been reading for ages. Turning pages, keep turning those pages. Time flies when you've been reading for ages. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is contraband in Morganville. Hilarious. I finished Midnight Alley, the first book of the reading rush, and I think this is so far my favorite book in the Morganville Vampire series. This is book 3. I'm really fascinated by some things that have come up in the series, and I really enjoyed it. So I think next I'm going to read Deep Blue because, I don't know, I just feel like reading about mermaids. Alright, let's see which ocean ambient music I like the best. Not necessarily outside sound, so it's music. Okay, this one is ocean sounds. It's a possibility. Here's tropical. I think I would actually go with this one. It's very watery sounding. Seems good for this book. Turning pages, keep turning those pages. Time flies when you've been reading for ages. Turning pages, keep turning those pages. Time flies when you've been reading for ages. Turning pages, keep turning those pages. Time flies when you've been reading for ages. Turning pages, keep turning those pages. Time flies when you've been reading for ages. Hello, it is now Thursday, July 23rd. I did not feel like filming yesterday, but I did make it to page 290 in deep blue, so let me take you through my notes as I read this book. So like in the very beginning of the book, I really didn't understand why the author decided to make this about mermaids specifically. It starts out all about like royalty and court politics and a lot of fashion. Fashion is described a lot. So the mermaids wear like fancy dresses and stuff, which honestly doesn't seem very like, I wanted to say aerodynamic, but like, you know, the same sort of, it didn't seem very like good as far as swimming, you know, like bathing suits are kind of close to the body for a reason. Seems like it'd be difficult to swim in gowns, and wouldn't it always be like floating up, and the gravity of it all confuses me a little bit. But that's not the point. Aside from the fact that they swim everywhere and their pets are aquatic creatures, there's nothing about the story at the beginning that screams it has to be about mermaids. Honestly, nothing in the story would really change if they weren't mermaids. So now they've swam into a mirror and are in the mirror realm, where a bunch of ghosts are trapped inside the mirror in the mirror realm. And this weird guy is introducing them to all of these ghosts. And this is a detour I really didn't want to take. This is a strange book. It's like a quest adventure that's trying to be like cute and funny, kind of like Percy Jackson, but it's not quite either. Instead, it's just random. I will say at least it's been pretty fast-paced after the first 100 pages. So, there are 6 special girls, and they need to find 6 special magic items in order to defeat a great evil. Where have I heard that before? Okay, so I finished it. I know it probably seemed like I was complaining throughout most of the book, but honestly, once all of the girls came together, it actually picked up and got pretty interesting. Honestly, the main character, Sarah, is probably the least interesting of the group, which sadly seems to happen a lot with main characters. I don't know what it is. The side characters just have so much more personality. For anybody who has actually read this book, I think Neela might be my favorite. I also really like Ling and Ava. Neela loves fashion and she glows. She's blue, but then she also like glows different colors. She likes fashion and she likes candy. Ling can speak any language and is like pretty cool and level-headed. And then Ava is blind, but she's prophetic. She has a pet piranha and she loves pink. And she's also kind of really fun and entertaining, and yeah, those 3 I think are my favorite. I feel like the book's main flaw is the pacing. I think the ending of the book should have been more like the middle of the book, and the first 100 pages could have really pretty much been condensed, if not cut entirely, and the book should have started at the actual inciting incident instead of 100 pages before the inciting incident. And it probably could have been combined with whatever's going to happen in the second book, because a lot of the stuff on their quest adventure was just kind of random and didn't end up adding to at least book 1 in a meaningful way. I mean, it's one thing if it's setting up for book 2, but then it could happen in book 2. But I don't know if I mentioned this, but I do own the next 3 books in the series, and I will definitely be continuing it because I do like a lot of the girls that they added in, and I'm really curious to see what happens on the adventure. Let's see if they can find all of the elements of harmony. I mean the talismans. Another random little nitpick, and this isn't even the author's fault, but like the entire book is summarized in the jacket, so if you want to read this book, don't read the jacket because it tells you aside from like the actual spoiler details, it pretty much tells you the entire plot of the book. Like what happens in the end of this paragraph, that's the end of the book. So I don't know who wrote this, but they should have done something differently, because like by the time I got to the end I was like, wait, but this, they already told me that in the summary. You know, I'm not a book jacket designer person, so maybe they, I don't know why that was done. But as a reader, that's like one of my pet peeves, is when the jacket spoils the book. Please don't. So it is on to my next book, the Jane Austen Book Club. Turning pages, keep turning those pages. Time flies when you stand. Okay, I'm about 30 pages into the Jane Austen Book Club, and I'm not really enjoying it. I'm just not really a fan of the writing style, and there are a lot of flashbacks, and I'm not really that interested in the flashbacks. I don't know, I think it's just the writing is a little bit more disconnected than I prefer, and I'm also not finding myself attached to any of the characters particularly. So I scoured my bookshelves to find another book that fit into the prompt to read a book based off of a TV show or movie that you've already seen. At least I hope TV show was included. If it's not, I'm including it. And I found The Last Song by Nicholas Sparks. Gosh, bumping into stuff. The Secret Circle by L.J. Smith. And The Perfectionists by Sarah Shepard. All three of these I have seen either the movie or TV show, and I haven't read any of these books yet. So I've decided that I'm going to do a quick little mini, it's going to be very short, try a chapter challenge tag thing. So I'm going to decide which of these is going to be my replacement for that prompt. Turning pages, keep turning those pages. Time flies when you've been reading. So I read, it was actually the prologue of The Perfectionists, but it was about 10 pages, so I'm counting it as chapter 1. It was actually pretty interesting, despite the fact that it introduced like a million characters all at once. I think I can still kind of keep them straight. And it's interesting. It was a lot different from the show, because it wasn't really about Allie coming to this school and discovering the murder. I don't think Allie's in this book at all. The Perfectionists, if you didn't know, is a spin-off of the show Pretty Little Liars. I adore Pretty Little Liars, but I didn't really like The Perfectionists because I didn't like any of the characters aside from Allison and Mona from Pretty Little Liars. But this was a very interesting first chapter. I'm pretty intrigued by it, especially since it seems like they're in high school and not college. And I honestly don't remember any of the characters' names from the show. Like I said, I didn't like any of them, so I don't really know who's who anyway. So I feel like I could read the book with fresh eyes. And I'm kind of mildly intrigued. It seems pretty fast-paced. Her writing, Sarah Shepard's writing, is fast-paced. Like, I read the first 2 Pretty Little Liars books before getting so invested in the show that I wasn't really interested in the differences between the show and the book. So yeah, book 1, a solid option. Next on the pile is The Last Song. Pages, turning, pages, keep turning those pages. Time flies when you've been reading pages. Okay, I ended up reading the prologue and the first chapter because they were each only about 5 pages. I am intrigued by it. The writing is very good. I've actually never read a Nicholas Sparks book before. That's why I got this one, because my friend said that it was her favorite Nicholas Sparks book if I were to try and get into his stuff. And while I am like mildly intrigued about what happened, I don't know if it's the right fit for the readathon, because 1, it is the longest, but I would have given it a shot if it was like kind of fast-paced, but it seems like it's going to be like a slow burn type book, which isn't bad, but isn't really the best fit for this readathon. I was thinking if it was going to be like kind of like a super cute, really fast sticking into romance, then I might give it a shot. But right now I think that this book might take a minute to get into, so I don't think it's the best readathon fit. So far The Perfectionist has won, but let's see if The Secret Circle ends up intriguing me even more than The Perfectionists. I really, really liked the show, actually, and was very sad when it got cancelled after one season. Turning, pages keep you turning, those pages, time flies when you've been reading for ages. Okay, The Secret Circle also had a very intriguing beginning. It wasn't quite as, like, intriguing or fast-paced as The Perfectionist, because things, like, really got started fast with this one. But honestly, I feel like for the readathon, I kind of like the writing in this one a little better. This one, again, has like all those characters to keep track of, which isn't a bad thing, but I feel like I'm kind of liking the vibe of this one a little bit better. And I also really liked the show, and I want to see how it's different from the book. Well, how the book's different from the show. So I think I'm going to go with The Secret Circle, though I will definitely be reading this because I liked the beginning a lot more. They went in a little bit of a different direction than the beginning of the show did. So, yeah. I'm definitely going to be reading both of these at some point. I didn't hate either of them. I was actually interested in both of them. I like how this one's also on a beach town. Like this one. I like beach towns and beaches in general. And like I said, I was just very intrigued by this one. And I like how bright the cover is. It's nice. But The Secret Circle is going to be my next read. I'm also going to count the roughly 50 pages I read the first 2 chapters of these books and the 30 pages that I read of the Jane Austen Book Club. I'm going to add 50 pages onto my overall readathon reading pages thingamajiggy, just because I did read that many extra pages and I want credit for it. It doesn't actually matter that I didn't finish a book because I feel like the pages themselves also count in this readathon, which I really like. Yeah, I'll be getting into this one. Turning, pages keep you turning, those pages, time flies when you've been reading for ages. Turning, pages keep you turning, those pages, time flies when you've been reading for ages. So I'm at the beginning of this book, and she's talking about this guy that she met on the beach for a few minutes. And this is what she's saying. But he left her. Suddenly, with a shock, she remembered that. He left her and gone away. Just as the other most important man in Cassie's life has. Also, that's a weird sentence, but like, he doesn't know you. She met him and had like a short conversation, and then he left. Like, what did she want? Him to ask her to stay on the beach with him forever and then they can live there on the beach? It would have been weirder if he hadn't left, is all I'm saying. So around page 100 or so now, and so far she's being bullied in school, and she's unhappy, and I'm ready for the magics. When does she discover the magic in her? Because that's what we're all really here for, let's be honest. It is now Friday, July 24th, and last night I made it to page 190 in The Secret Circle by L.J. Smith, and boy, does this book go from 0 to 100 with the witchy stuff. Cassie has no clue about anything, and then all of a sudden she's participating in this ritual where they kidnapped her at knife point, by the way, and swearing her life to the circle. And then the scene ends with her being like so happy because she finally fits in somewhere. Excuse me. What? This is some serious peer pressure nonsense right there. But she has a feeling that everything is alright, that it's all going to be okay, and this is just how it's meant to be. I want to know why she's so sure that they're not using like magic, mind control to make her think she's feeling these things. I mean, I'm pretty sure she is, because she does become part of the circle and everything, but like, in the context of what's happening, I would think she would be a little more suspicious. I'm just saying, I think TV show Cassie put up a little bit more of a fight and resistance to the whole, let's join the circle and pledge my life away right this second. I barely know these people, but let's go. Oh, and we've also reached the love triangle portion where she finds out she's in love with her new bestie's boyfriend. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of angst to follow. So I finished the Secret Circle Initiation, which is like the first, I think it's the first book in the series. And then the second one is The Captive Part 1. This has 2 separate titles, so I'm assuming it's a combination bind-up situation. So I finished the first book in the Secret Circle, and the ending was really interesting. I can't say anything because of spoilers. I don't want to spoil it for any of you who haven't read it, but I'm very intrigued to see what happens next. Honestly, not a whole lot really happened in this book, but I mean, it was still interesting. I like the writing. I do really like L.J. Smith's writing. I like her Night World series. I never actually read the Vampire Diaries because I got too attached to the show and the books were so different from the show. I tried to read the first one and couldn't really get into it. But we're not talking about Vampire Diaries. So far, I really enjoyed the first book in this series. I'm definitely going to continue on with this series. And this actually means that I have completed all of the reading challenges for the readathon. And it's only Friday, which is pretty cool. I might continue reading for the next couple days just for fun, but I'm not going to stress out about finishing anything. But I really enjoyed this readathon so far because it got me back into the swing of reading and reading more at one time than I had been in lately. I've been watching a lot of TV and not really getting through that many books. So I got through like 3 books this week, which is insane for me, even if they were kind of short books. And I don't know how much reading I'll do tomorrow, because tomorrow's my birthday, so I have some plans. But I'll probably do like a birthday haul or something. Yeah, and I also might continue reading some more tonight and finish this part 1 of the second book. I'm a little confused about the way they arrange it, because it's the Initiation and the Captive Part 1, and then the next book is like the Captive Part 2 and the Power, so I'm confused as to why they didn't put the Captive Part 1 and 2 together. Maybe they had a reason. I don't know. Who's to say? But yes, I enjoyed The Secret Circle. It was very different from the show. From what I vaguely remember of the show, I don't remember it all that well. I only ever watched it once, and it was many years ago. I just remember the characters look different than how they are described, because the ones I remember are Cassie, Diana, and Adam, and none of those actors look like the way their characters are described. Honestly, I feel like you could kind of flip Cassie and Diana, and that would be more accurate as far as the actors go. And I feel like Nick might have been that blonde guy in the show. I don't remember. So if you're a diehard Secret Circle fan, if there are any of those out there, I might be wrong. But so far he has not said a single word in the book. I guess we'll find out. I'm just curious to see where everything goes. And I have the whole series, I think, or at least the first few books in the series. So we'll see when I get around to reading those. So we have come to the end of the reading rush, and I did actually end up finishing The Captive Part 1, so I added another 120 pages to my overall reading for the readathon. I'll step to the side a bit and maybe do a screen recording of my reading rush profile and all of the badges that I've done and my total page count, because I'm not even sure what that was. But overall, I think this was a very successful readathon, maybe my most successful week-long readathon ever. So in case you forgot which books I read, it was a very long video. I read Midnight Alley by Rachel Kane, Deep Blue by Jennifer Donnelly, and then The Secret Circle by L.J. Smith, the first book in the series. And I was also going to include a birthday haul since it was my birthday on Saturday. So I pretty much got bookish stuff and art-related things for my birthday. But this video is actually really long already, so I think I'm going to do the birthday haul as a separate video. So if you're interested in seeing what those are, please do subscribe if you're not already so you don't miss that video. And thank you so much for watching this video if any of you are left. It was really long, I know, but I feel like it's a little bit more interesting to actually talk about my thoughts on the book in a little bit of detail rather than just saying what I read and the page count, so hopefully that excuses the length of this vlog. Hopefully it was entertaining for you. If you're still here, it probably was. If you're not, you're not going to hear this anyway. You're going to see the minute count on the video and be like, oh no, no. So, thank you so much for watching. If you participated in the reading rush, please tell me about it in the comments below, or just how your reading has been going in general. I'd love to chat with you in the comments. It always makes my day, and I will see you next time in my next video. Bye!